I start every morning by listening to short English stories while making tea.
I do the same, but I choose topics I enjoy so my brain stays interested.
As I listen, I don't try to translate. I just follow the rhythm and repeat small phrases aloud.
Then I pause and shadow the speaker saying the same sentence right after them, copying their speed and intonation.
I keep a small notebook and write one new sentence I heard that feels natural. I don't analyze the grammar, I just copy how it sounds.
In the afternoon, I talk to myself in English about what I'm doing, describing simple actions as if I'm explaining to a friend.
I also use my phone to record those self-talk moments, then listen back and notice patterns. What I say easily and what gets stuck.
When something sounds awkward, I don't try to fix the grammar rule. I find another example of how native speakers say it and mimic that.
Every day I read one short paragraph from an article or a story out loud. I read slowly at first, then faster, matching natural speed.
I underline phrases that repeat and practice them in different situations. That builds phrase memory instead of memorizing rules.
At night, I write a few sentences about my day in English. I don't worry if it's imperfect. I just use the phrases I've heard and practiced.
Then I read those sentences aloud, hearing how they flow. I compare yesterday's and today's writing to see progress.
I also talk with a language partner for 10 minutes daily. We don't correct each other's grammar. We just keep the conversation going, asking simple questions and answering.
I prepare a list of 3 topics before the call, like food, dreams, or weekend plans, so I have something to say and can practice vocabulary naturally.
If I get stuck, I use a phrase I've heard before, even if it's not perfect, instead of stopping to think about rules.
I keep a use it again list, phrases that worked well, and I try to use each of them in different sentences during the day.
I set small daily goals, like, today I will describe my breakfast in English twice, or I will ask someone a question in English.
Goals keep me active. I also follow a few English speakers on social media and watch one short video with subtitles, then watch again without them.
When I listen, I focus on repeating the sounds, not understanding every word. The meaning comes from context and repeated exposure.
I read children's books sometimes because the language is simple and full of patterns. I say the sentences aloud as if I'm telling the story.
I keep a voice note of a sentence I like and play it during my walk, repeating it softly.
During commute, I think in English about what I will say later instead of rehearsing grammar in my head.
I practice questions and answers. What did I eat? I had toast. What will I do tomorrow? I will go to the market. Simple, daily, real.
I also use synonyms naturally. If I say I'm tired, I feel worn out the next day. So my brain learns different expressions for the same idea.
When I hear a new word, I don't memorize its definition. I notice how it's used in a sentence and make my own sentence with it that relates to my life.
I repeat that sentence several times during the day. Then I try to use the same word in a different context the next day.
I avoid studying lists of rules. Instead, I collect examples. For instance, I notice how questions start in conversations and copy that pattern.
I also play simple word games in English, like describing something without saying its name, to force my brain to use alternative vocabulary.
I set a phrase of the day and use it in at least 5 different sentences. It becomes automatic after a while.
When I watch movies or shows, I choose one scene and listen to it twice. Then I mute and try to speak along using the same expressions.
I do a weekly review. I look at my recordings and notes, pick 3 improvements, and keep practicing those specific sounds or phrases.
I build confidence by celebrating small wins, using a new phrase in a real chat, finishing a full self-talk practice without hesitating, or understanding a short video without subtitles.
I also read aloud advertisements, signs, or menus when I'm out. It's quick practice and connects English to real environments.
I ask simple follow-up questions in conversations like, "Why do you like that?" or "How do you do that?" That keeps the flow and makes me use more varied language.
Sometimes I pretend I'm telling a story to a child, making it simple, clear, and repeated. That helps me use natural repetition and emphasize keywords.
Before sleep, I mentally review 3 phrases I used well or heard during the day. I say them quietly, reinforcing memory through repetition without pressure.
I also choose one awkward phrase from the day, something I wanted to say but couldn't, and practice saying it smoothly the next morning.
I keep a list of filler phrases like, "That's interesting," "Right," "I see," and use them to sound natural when thinking while speaking.
When I find a pattern, like how people say "I'm going to" or "I've been," I collect sample sentences and say them in different situations.
I use songs to learn chunks. I sing along to easy songs, focusing on how phrases connect instead of trying to analyze grammar.
I schedule consistent short daily practice instead of long, rare sessions. 10 minutes every day builds habits faster than 2 hours once a week.
I keep a daily habits checklist in my mind. Listen, speak, read out loud, self-talk, review, use new phrase. It's automatic now.
I also talk about future plans in English, imagining and describing what I will do, which practices future expressions naturally.
And I describe past events casually, like, "Yesterday I went to the market," without worrying about tense rules. The pattern becomes familiar by use.
If I don't understand something, I repeat the sentence and say, "Can you say that again in another way?" That teaches me paraphrasing instead of grammar corrections.
Finally, I remind myself that fluency is about flow and communication, not perfection. I keep going even when I make mistakes, because practice smooths them out.
We've shared these habits so viewers can pick the ones that fit their day and build their own routine.
Start small, stay consistent, and let natural exposure shape your English. What we have learned in this video, we learned daily. Practical habits for fluent English without studying grammar, listening with purpose, shadowing, self-talk, reading aloud, collecting natural phrases, using new expressions in real contexts, reviewing recordings, setting small goals, speaking regularly, and building confidence through repetition and pattern noticing.